you guys. So my name is John Jenkins, and you guys read the title. If you have to go to the back of the bus, then go. All right, I'm seeing. We're not going out with a bang. We're going out with a whimper. So I'm seeing all these videos on YouTube talking about Trump is legalizing segregation and stuff like that. And aren't these black Republicans ashamed of ourselves because we voted for Donald Trump? Basically, uh, uh, what I'm saying is that if you have to go to the back of the bus, go to the back of the bus, and after you go to the back of the bus, after you have to go into the grocery store to the back door, after you get kicked out of the VIP room or whatever, after they resegregate the NBA and NFL and the MLB, when that happens, well, you got to learn your lesson. It's biblical. It's biblical. It's just like the in the Old Testament. Obviously, I'm an atheist. Let's get that out of the way. But in the Old Testament, God would set His people free. He would take them out of Egypt, and they would the nation of Israel would just start complaining, and going against God's laws, acting up, and then God would say, okay, so you're gonna be walking in the wilderness for 40 years. I'm gonna put you in slavery over here, and you're gonna lose generations. You're gonna lose entire generations of your family, stuff like that, to the desert. So, like I said before, if you have to go to the back of the bus, then go to the back of the bus. The only reason why any white person on the planet votes for liberalism, the only reason why any white person on the planet votes for liberalism is because, to put it short, he only gets paid if your life gets worse. He only gets paid if your life gets worse. Liberals have figured out a way to get paid when your life gets worse. So every time one of your kids commits a violent misdemeanor, can never have their record sealed or expunged from the first conviction, from the first crime, from the first arrest, from the very first arrest at 18. They can never have the record sealed or expunged for the rest of their life, no matter what happens, no matter how much they rehabilitate. And not only that, they become a ward of the state from the age of 18 for the rest of their life, and they're forced onto disability where they have to earn less than $2,000 for the rest of their life, or they go to prison. So every time that happens to one of your sons or one of your daughters, that liberal gets a cut of that pay. That liberal gets a cut of that pay every time they have to build a government to force your children into prison, force your children into poverty, force your children onto disability. That liberal gets a cut of that pay, and so that's the only reason why you hear. That's the only way. So when you see all these white liberals talking about, you have a right to be angry. You have a right to be turning over cars and burning down businesses in every major city of America because of George Floyd, Freddie Gray, Michael Brown, Sam Dubose. When all these liberals are talking about you have a right to burn down every city in America, that's the only reason. When basically they're white. So they're white. So when black people get to burning, and then white people resegregate the country, well, the white liberals happen to be white, so they benefit from that. So the only reason why any white person, and let's be totally honest here, the only reason why any white person ever supported affirmative action or DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, is because they get the job automatically. When a white man goes to a job, when a white man goes to apply for a job, he gets a job automatically. Why? Because he does not require DEI or affirmative action to get a job. That's the reason. That's the only reason why any white liberal supports DEI or affirmative action. That's the only reason why any white person supports liberalism, because it works in their favor either way. It works more in their favor if you fail than if you succeed. Uh, so basically, I mean, it's been 70 years. It's been roughly, it's been a little bit less than 70 years. Uh, I'm sorry, it's been a little bit less than 60 years. It's been a little bit less than 60 years since MLK died. It's been a little bit less than 60 years since MLK died. And we've got more black basketball players or black football players than we have black scientists. We have more, we have more black MMA fighters than we have black computer engineers. While we were going through that first Trump term, while we were going through that first Trump term and burning down every major city in the country, whites and Asians and Hispanics and Jews and Native Americans and Europeans and Asians, I probably said Asians already. All these other people, they were teaching their children math and science and engineering. They were teaching their children different languages. They were teaching their children, they were teaching their children healthy sports that don't cause concussions, such as football. They were teaching their children how to eat healthy, so they don't end up obese like a lot of black Americans. So if you have to go to the back of the bus, then go to the back of the bus. All right, well, go to the back of the bus. So we had 60 years since MLK died. We instead of teaching our children to be the next John Morant or the next Ron Artest or the next Magic Johnson, we should have been teaching our kids to be the next Barack Obama. That's what should have been teaching our kids. So if we had a few more black presidents between then and now, we probably could prevent this whole thing. And like I'm saying, like the desegregation order was a executive order. The desegregation order was an executive order. It was not codified in the law. That was not mentioned not once. In 8 years by Barack Obama. That was not mentioned not once by Kamala Harris at any point in time. So all these black people talking about they know what's best for every black person on the planet. That wasn't mentioned by Jesse Jackson. That wasn't mentioned by Al Sharpton. That wasn't mentioned by Tariq Nasheed. That wasn't mentioned by anybody. That wasn't even mentioned by Steve Harvey. That wouldn't even mentioned by Steve Harvey. That wasn't mentioned by Don Lemon. That wasn't mentioned by, like I said before, that wasn't mentioned by LeBron James. That wasn't mentioned by anybody. Not any one of these black leaders. That wasn't mentioned by Magic Johnson. Not a single one of these black leaders has ever mentioned the fact that we sat here for 60 years. The desegregation law was completely uncodified. No single black. I've never heard a single black person in my entire life complain that the civil rights movement, that the desegregation order was an executive order and it was not codified. We all sat here not knowing anything about the law, not knowing anything about the Constitution, not knowing anything about due process and about our rights. We sat here for 60 years, not a single black person I've ever met in my life ever even mentioned the fact that the desegregation order was an executive order and therefore not constitutionally sound. Not a single black person I ever met in my entire life ever mentioned this. And I've been around for 40 years. I just turned 40 a couple of weeks ago. And I've never seen a single black person in my entire life, not Barack Obama, not Kamala Harris, not any black person in my entire life ever mentioned this. So if you have to go to the back of the bus, go to the back of the bus. And like I said, if you have to go to the back of the bus, because I go to JWLB every week. I go to JWLB, the grocery store. I go to the grocery store every week. Yeah, hey, if I gotta go in the grocery store by the side door, if I gotta go in the grocery store through the service door, then that's what I gotta do. That's how I get my food. But this whole thing where we had to know. It was so obvious that this was gonna happen. All this stuff where we wait until a black man dies so that we can dance on his grave, and then we go and we burn down one city or another city. This was obviously going to happen sooner rather than later, and it's really silly that so many black people don't really acknowledge that. So like I said, if you have to go to the back of the bus, go to the back of the bus. I'll be glad to go to the back of the bus or the back of the train or the back of the whatever. It doesn't really make that much difference to me. But it's not even the end. It's not even the end of March yet. It's not even the end of March yet. It's not even the end of March yet. And I've read 35 books this year. I've read 35 books this year. That includes physical books, ebooks, and audiobooks. 35 books. So how many books have you read this year? What are you gonna learn about the Constitution and the law so that they don't come and literally take your life using the constitutional amendment? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do so that they don't just walk up to you and take your life based on some constitutional amendment? For example, slavery is still legal if you become an inmate. So all white people have to do is force you to commit a crime, and then they can legally put you into slavery. I've heard that one before. That one's real. So we can do something about that too. So yeah. So like I said, if you gotta go to the back of the bus, go to the back of the bus. Whatever you gotta do, just do it. And like I said, this is the biblical moment. We're going back into captivity so that we can learn our lessons, and hopefully we'll come out better and stronger on the other end. So thank you everyone for your help. Have a great day and goodbye.